To edit text, you're going to go ahead and click on whichever text box it is in. So we will start with a normal paragraph. Now to edit it, you can just click into it, and that's going to allow you to type if you want to change what it says. It's also going to bring up a bunch of editing tools that many of which will look familiar because they're similar to what you would see in Google Docs or Word. And so if you want to change some of your text, you can do a couple of things. First off, you can bold, italicize, you can also change the color of text. You can change the size of your text. Be aware that that's going to affect the entire paragraph. So if you want to make it larger or smaller, what you have here are some presets. And so you have 4 different sized heading options and 3 different sized paragraphs. You also have monospace, which I have set as a script font. And so what you can do is you can decide what size you want your text to be. You can also use this special stretch option to make a line of text perfectly fill a box. So let me use this as an example. And I'll make it a little simpler with one line. So right now I have this set as stretch because it's going to make this one line of text perfectly fill the box. So let's take it off and see what that looks like. So this is normal text. You can see heading 1 is too large. It's on 2 lines, which I don't like. Heading 2 is looking okay, but then depending what size someone's screen is on, if they're looking on a slightly larger screen, you could end up getting some white space here. Or if their screen size is a little bit smaller than mine, it's going to wrap to 2 lines. So if you have something that you want to make sure it perfectly fits in the box on one line, this stretch function is going to automatically size your text to fit. And now it doesn't matter if your box gets larger or your box gets smaller, it's going to automatically size it to fit in there. So that's a helpful tool. We also have this tool here. So you can see on my site, I have a couple of colored underlines. And if you visit my site live, you'll see this guy circled it. You saw that draw on. And then these underlines, you see they have a little animation. So they actually get drawn on as someone finishes the page. So those are found under this button. This is the effects. And if you want to add an effect, you're going to select whatever text you want the effect for. And then when you click on it, it's going to give you some highlight options. And it has a bunch of different options you can play with, different types of underlines, circles, and you can adjust them to look exactly how you like, whether that's changing the color, changing the thickness, so you can make the effect thinner or fatter. The ends cap is going to change the ends of the line right here. So right here you can see the ends are sharp, they're square, versus if you want to make them softer, you can round it out, and now the ends of the line are rounded. You can also animate it. It is set for several options for you to play with. If you want it to be drawn on, if you want it to fade in, and you can change how fast or how slow that effect is as well. If you ever have one of these effects you want to get rid of, simply click on the text, click this button, and you can remove it and get rid of it entirely. Now there's a couple other buttons up here. If you want to add a link, you can click this link and drop the URL. You can also change if your paragraphs are centered, justified, left or right. The quote function, if I make this guy a quote, what it's going to do is it's actually going to just indent it a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, so it indents it a little bit to help it stand apart. If you want to do that, you have a strike through option. You can also manually move a certain paragraph left or right. Another really helpful thing is going to be whether you want it aligned vertically, or you can have it aligned with the top of the box or the bottom of the box. So for instance, right now it's in the middle of the box. So if you wanted something, well, for this one, I wanted it to be aligned in the middle of this photo. And so I have it center aligned, but in a different place, perhaps, no, I guess I have a lot of center alignment on my website, but a different place, for instance, here, if it's center aligned, I might decide that these two boxes feel too far apart. So instead I can align it to the top of the box to get these guys a little closer if I want. It just helps you really finesse spacing and get things exactly where you want them to be. The last thing I want to show with text is going to be this backdrop option. And so I'll move him over so you can see it a little better. But essentially this background button is going to let you fill in this colored box. If you don't want a background, you can get rid of it. But if you do want to add one, again, click on this little paint button and turn it on. Once it's on, there are a bunch of options to finesse it. You can choose which color you want it to be. You can give it a stroke around the outside of the box if you'd like, and that stroke can be small, medium. You can make it as big as you want. You can round the corners if you want. If you want all of them rounded, or if you just want perhaps some of them rounded. You can also increase or decrease the padding. So that's going to be the space between the words and the outsides of the box. And you can customize those more specifically as well. The blur option, I don't usually use. Let's see if I can give an example. There we go. And so again, I don't usually use this, but if you ever want to play around with it, it's going to take the entire thing and it can soften it out. I'd be very careful not to blur your words too far so that they're not legible. But again, this is here if you ever want to play around with that. If you ever want to create a new box, you can go ahead and click Add Block, and anything text is going to be the very first one that pops up if you want to add any new text. And then also for all objects in Squarespace, if you want to either duplicate it, you can click this button, or if you want to move them backwards or forwards, you have these two buttons. So for instance, if I want this guy to be behind the photo, I could just click this and he would go ahead and behind or bring him forward. So as I said, there are a lot of options with text, so feel free to play around until you get it exactly the way you'd like.